The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Oh, yeah. We're back, and we're gay for Fahey on Flesh Wound After Dark. I'm Flesh Wound Dan, joined by Producer Todd.
Already trying to get me to leave.
How's it going, Producer Todd?
Well, I was fine till about a minute ago.
Well, you should be fine. Just like Jeff Fahey, we're here to celebrate a great actor tonight on Flesh Wound After Dark. And yeah. And there are ladies in these movies too. So there's something for everybody. It's another Flesh Wound After Dark eye candy extravaganza. And so, Todd, when did Jeff Fahey first land on your radar? Like, was there a film that made you recognize him?
There is, and we will not be covering it on this because we've already covered it.
Okay.
It should be fairly obvious what that film is. Think Hot Neon Lights.
Psycho
3. There you go.
Okay.
That is
your first. Okay.
That is my first and my definitive Fahey role. He is the perfect amount of sleazy. And yeah. So
good villain, good. I mean, just very charismatic actor. Stole the show in Darkman 3, which is the weakest of the three, but he was really good. Yeah. Even in a piece of crap, Fahey shines. So, yeah. Figured we'd pick two lesser-known roles from Jeff Fahey for this evening, and we will kick it off both the same year. So we'll kick it off with 1995's Virtual Seduction from director Paul Ziller. And in this film, a man becomes obsessed with a virtual reality program that can resurrect his murdered girlfriend in cyberspace. Things become complicated, however, when he begins to develop a relationship with his girlfriend's with his girlfriend's best friend. All right. So yeah, Virtual Seduction, a little bit of background on this one. It's got some alternate titles, Cyber Sex, Virtual Matrix, Cyber Games, also just Roger Corman Presents Virtual Seduction. It was a Showtime original initially, which is how most people here probably saw it back in the 90s. And yeah, the director, now Paul Ziller is a name, not a household name perhaps, but you have probably seen 100 of his movies because he is prolific. He started out directing the 1988 slasher film Pledge Night, and then he did such action movies as Back in Action with Rowdy Piper and Billy Blanks, Shoot Fighter 2 with Bolo Young. He even did a Blood Fist 4. And after that, he became prolific in Sci-Fi Channel originals and Hallmark Christmas movies, which is kind of currently where he's at. But he's directed Android Apocalypse with Chris Jericho and Joey Lawrence, Stonehenge Apocalypse, Seed of Destruction, Collision Earth, Snakehead Terror. His credits are absolutely insane. Sea Beast. This guy's just, you go down there and it's like, oh, I've seen that. And he tends to usually deliver a fun B movie. So it caught my eye. I had actually forgotten that this was one of his earlier ones. It stars, of course, Jeff Fahey, who don't need to run down those credits, but the two lovely ladies in this film, Amy Dolenz, of course, of Witchboard 2 fame, Ticks, Pumpkinhead 2, Children of the Night, Miracle Beach, Can't Buy Me Love. She's very popular. Also,
fan.
I am a big Amy Dolenz fan as well. Carrie Genzel, who, if she looks familiar, of course, she's 30 years younger here, but she recently played Clark, the Inquisitor at the end of Walking Dead, who was interviewing everybody. She's very prolific. She's done a lot of Uwe Boll films like Assault on Wall Street. She's one of her more interesting credits is she played Jackie Kennedy in Watchmen, and she was also in Jennifer's Body and a whole bunch of stuff. So that's kind of the cast. Very good cast. There's also a very blink and you'll miss it, gratuitous Michael McDonald cameo as Disoriented Man. He's the one that was experimented on in this VR program first and didn't take to it. So
my brain went to the musician first, so I was like, is the I Keep Forgetting guy? But then I figured out, yeah, the other one.
Michael McDonald has a pretty rich history in the horror genre. He did that terrible Halloween movie, and he was in all kinds of different things. But yeah, I thought it was funny because I forgot he was in this too. Because it's quite frankly, he's just walking around confused, and that's it.
He wasn't in H2O.
Oh, shut up, Todd. All right, so this movie. This was kind of, I remember back in the mom and pop video store days, I had a little trouble getting a hold of this one right away. Because at the time that it aired, and I was obsessed with Lawnmower Man growing up, and any of the VR stuff.
He's wearing the same Pendleton in the beginning.
He is, yes. I was going to say kind of a typecasting for this one.
We need a guy stuck in VR. Get Fahey.
Get Fahey. Bring me Fahey.
And that guy from the Mannequin movies. We'll throw him in there too. But you didn't mention him.
Michael. What's his name?
Matosh Taylor or Makash Taylor?
Meschak. I'm sorry to say that wrong. He's a great character actor, but yeah, he plays Anderson, the tech for the VR program.
I know him as Hollywood from Mannequin, so there we go.
Yeah. He's another great character actor.
He is.
But I was obsessed with virtual reality stuff at that time. So I didn't have Showtime at that particular moment. I had HBO. For some reason, I just didn't have Showtime right at that exact moment that I knew this was airing. Took me a little while to actually get a hold of this one. I was a little like, I gotta see this. It's Jeff Fahey and it's a virtual reality thing. And Amy Dolenz didn't hurt.
Even as a youngster, you were already.
Oh yeah, no, I was a fucking pain in the ass. I would just hear about something on IMDb.
No, I didn't mean that part. I didn't mean the OCD part. I meant the obsession with your Fahey.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because true story, I probably this was one of those ones I probably drove to 18 different video stores. Do you have it? And for some reason they just didn't. And it took them a minute to see this one. So one thing that I thought was funny, we open up this movie with they don't go too deep into the backstory on this, but Jeff Fahey and Carrie Genzel, who plays Paris, his fiance, they're going to elope. The father doesn't approve. There's one comment that I thought was funny. It's well, she's kind of young, or I'm older. I can't remember which it was, but they're jumping out of a window. And at the time, Jeff Fahey was 43 and she was 23. Or the character was 23. So you can imagine Dad would be pissed. I thought it was funny they at least acknowledged it, because at the beginning I was like, wait a minute, this looks like a dorm. Are they trying to pass Jeff Fahey off?
Well, I'm sure he was still playing like he was 30 though. They were doing a 20-year gap.
Yeah, he's 72 now, and looks like somebody who could still play a guy in his 50s. But it was kind of funny that they at least acknowledged that there was an inappropriate age difference that Dad probably wouldn't be proud of. But yeah. So after this, I guess it's fair to say this one is not super hot and heavy. Jeff Fahey.
Amy Dolenz is not doing nudity doesn't help.
She refused. This was a case where they actually tried to get her to do it, and it must not have been agreed to it up front. And she said, absolutely not.
I knew we weren't going to get it, but the fact that they tried is, it was the 90s.
The old college try is like, hey, would you mind showing your titties? Like, no. They didn't body double her though, which is interesting because
did they in any of the film, any other film she's because I can't even remember a body double nude scene.
I believe so.
Okay,
I'd have to go check that. I won't. Don't want you to hear the the ads that might pop up if I check. But yeah. So I mean, this one I really enjoyed it. I think Jeff Fahey gets to stretch his acting muscles here a little bit because as he gets into this program, he asks initially for them to recreate his dead girlfriend, and they do, but then the program takes on a mind of its own. Obviously, it's funny because it starts off on New Year's Eve, 1999, and Jeff Fahey's looking back. I believe it's 5 years, so real time that the movie was made, and looking back at this new AI technology, which is kind of makes this one fun to watch now with where we're at. Just took a little longer than 5 years, but and yeah, so the machine kind of takes on a mind of its own. There's some conspiracy stuff back and forth with somebody who might have messed with the program, and the rest of it, I mean, I guess I would sort of call this one a sci-fi thriller. Obviously, it's not hot and heavy when it comes to the bump and grind at all. I think Carrie Genzel shows her breasts briefly during a really bizarre sex scene where they're just body painting each other. It's so 90s.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you can't always ghost with whatever you got. I mean, that's obviously this was a ghosting, and it was like, yeah, this isn't the clay. This isn't working.
Let's just splash some paint on her titties.
At least they weren't eating spaghetti, right, Dan?
I don't mind the paint. The body paint's fine, but yeah, no, it was like a very funny sex scene. It just, yeah. Beyond that, like, yeah, I'd say like kind of sci-fi romance. There's not a ton of action. I mean, there's a few bits exploring what he would have liked to have done, because basically they're carjacked and they get killed, and so he replays that.
Well, she does. He doesn't.
Yeah. They sort of allow him to right that wrong, at least in the VR world.
Right.
And this one's fun. It's fun to go back and revisit these science fiction movies especially with stuff now that is slowly becoming true. Like, we don't have this exact machine yet, but in some ways, particularly the ending of this, which I won't give away. The ending was very much like, I was looking at it and I was like, you know what? It's not these machines, but it's kind of came true. Like that last shot. I like this one, Todd. What did you think? I know you're not the biggest sci-fi guy.
It depends what it is, and this is more in my wheelhouse. Yeah, no, I did. I really enjoyed this one. This was actually a first-time watch. I hadn't seen it. 95, I was a lot more selective in my movies.
Yep.
So I just missed it. So I was really looking forward to this one, and it really delivered. I was excited because, like I said, I am a fan of Amy Dolenz, and I knew we were going to get some nudity, so I was already prepared for that. So
he wasn't going to clap them cheeks.
Yeah, I knew that going in, which I'm cool with. But yeah, no, it was a good time. I really did enjoy it. I mean, and yeah, they just got their timeline off, but it's pretty damn accurate.
Yeah, it probably could have used more of a love scene. I get a sense, like, even beyond the nudity, Amy Dolenz would only do so much. There's another, aside from the body paint scene, which is hilarious. It's like it feels like this is not in any way really a softcore movie at the end of the day, which makes the alternate titles like Cyber Sex kind of like, yeah, I can see a lot of people maybe getting this and being pissed off back in the day, expecting something else. But there's an awkward scene where Amy Dolenz is just lying on the bed, face down. And it kind of looks like Jeff Fahey is like shoving his hand inside her. He just slides it from behind up her dress. It's just, it comes off awkward. I think it's supposed to be like intimate, and it came off a little awkward, but that's all good. Like I said, a few good laughs in this. There's a VR wedding with Elvis, but
yeah.
I don't know. Like if you grew up in the 90s, I think there's a charm here. It's one of those movies that maybe a lot of us might remember being better than it actually is, but I'll be honest, like it kind of hit me in the nostalgia feels, because we don't get movies quite like this anymore, and I thought it was fun. It's a fun storyline, but don't look for softcore, because again, a weird body paint scene with a little fleeting boob is about all you're gonna get when it comes to that. But
so let's make it more confusing and stick it on After Dark.
It still kind of fits though, like because it is like a
does.
love triangle, and yeah.
It's just lower on the content than most erotic thrillers or other types of genre, mid-90s stuff. Yeah, because there's no real bump and grind other than the one you mentioned. But yeah, no, it's a good time. Like I said, first time viewing, but it still has that throwback. I mean, obviously, it's from the time, and yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, and there is there's a few different versions of this one. It's a little confusing, but there is an extended cut out there. I think actually more alternate cut is what it is, where there's 2 or 3 scenes where it'll have like some Italian dubbing.
From what I've gathered, it's because the Italian version was longer and the English dub was only what was done on the cable release. So the import DVDs didn't have access to the English tracks of the material that was missing.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't think it's a huge difference or anything that I remember. In fact, I think it's just dialogue, but
yeah. Because I was like, okay, why am I reading subtitles now? I'm not that high. The first one that popped up threw me off.
Because obviously I would have seen the US version back then, and it's like I'm watching it, and then it's like all of a sudden it's just like Jeff Fahey turns into like I think it was Italian, but he turns into like a telenovela, like out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, it was just extra exposition, I think. That they probably Showtime was like, yeah, get that out of there. We don't need all this extra talking.
Try and talk that Dolenz girl into showing her tits. Is how that went. We don't need any talking. Y2K my ass. All right. So Todd,
definitely wasn't a Weinstein picture.
No, definitely not. Todd, what do you rate this one?
For what it is, I'm a 4. I had a really good time with it.
Sweet. Yeah, I guess really at the end of the day, take it as a sci-fi thriller romance. It's a good showcase for Jeff Fahey. He gets to, play grief, and he plays that well.
You get 2 90s, era stars that both probably should have gone farther than they did.
I very much agree. I mean, Amy Dolenz was adorable, and I would have expected more of a run for her. I mean, Tick, Switchboard 2, those are big movies to us, but I would have expected her to get
Republic run.
Roles. Yeah.
Honestly, could be as simple as she didn't want to play ball. I mean, if she wasn't going to do nudity on camera, she wasn't falling prey to Harvey. And I mean, and Jeff, I think he just had a string of movies that just didn't hit.
Yeah, Jeff Fahey's an odd one because, I mean, like I said, there are plenty of bad movies on the filmography, but when he's on and he's given something to really sink his teeth into, the guy's a great actor.
Yeah, there's no doubting that. I think just as him being a lead kind of fizzled out in that wave of he did a few in a row. I know with Lawnmower Man.
You had like Psycho 3, I mean, not as a lead, but Psycho 3, Lawnmower Man, Body Parts.
Yeah, but see, the other ones he wasn't the lead. Like I'm saying, the ones he was the lead are the ones that didn't really do business. Psycho 3, he's like third lead. So,
yeah.
But I mean, you look at that, but you mentioned Body Parts. I mean, I think that just the string of like where it was all on his shoulders, I think that kind of hurt him. And I think he should have got to do stuff other than horror in the mainstream, but
yeah. He did a lot of sci-fi, did a lot of action, and he kind of had that resurgence with Machete and Grindhouse, and he was on Lost for a little while. But tons of great movies. Even the smaller stuff, like there's a lot of gems to be had there, and he did do other erotic thrillers, which and some more like just like that really fit that mold that I'm sure we'll cover at some point. So
he popped up in the series The Femme Fatales.
He did actually that too, and I didn't think about that. But this man has clapped some cheeks. He's clapped some Bo Derek cheeks. He's I believe I know he was in one of the Sketch Artist movies with Courtney Cox. So Fahey gets the ladies, and I give this one 3.5 before I forget.
And just no VR for him.
No VR. It doesn't work out well for him. He is God there. All right. So next up from the same year. So we're covering 30th anniversary for both of these movies.
Wow.
We have from 1995 and director Jeffrey Reiner. We have Serpent's Lair, which this one did make Blu-ray from Code Red back in 2016. And in this film, Tom and Alex are a young couple who move into an apartment where a mysterious self-deletion has just taken place. Almost immediately, their lives take a strange turn as Tom is seduced by a mysterious woman who turns out to be a seductive succubus. All right, so a little bit of background on this movie. Director Jeffrey Reiner, he is a very prolific in television, and one cool thing that he did, he directed the TV pilot movie for the 2011 Wonder Woman, which I don't know that it's even a movie.
It's not a pilot episode.
Yeah, he did that. Sounds like it wasn't good. I don't.
It's notoriously bad, and it's out there if you want to see it.
Okay, he also did Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I believe one of the last, if not the last, Columbo TV movie, Columbo Likes the Nightlife from 2003. Fargo, 12 Monkeys, Shameless. He's done a lot of TV. He did actually do a new movie that I haven't watched yet, but looks like a really good sort of dark comedy crime thriller, Lake George. Actually, one that just came out recently too. We'll have to consider doing it at some point because I want to watch it. So that's a little bit about his resume. Heather Medway was, I believe, a model, but she was also on the popular TV show Viper and the short-lived Melrose Place spinoff Models Inc.
Wow, I forgot about that show.
Yeah. So she did that. Our succubus in this picture is played by Lisa Barbuscia, who is just Lisa B at this point. Now, she was one that did not do a lot of movies. She had a short run, but she was in excuse me. She was in Almost Heroes with Chris Farley and Matthew Perry. She
Yeah.
does a little nudity in there. She plays
Uh,
Shakina, I believe was the character's name.
I don't know if I want to do a movie with her. Neither of those guys survived.
That is true. That just hit me that, yeah, both are gone. But what I really knew her from was Highlander Endgame, where she plays the love interest for Adrian Paul. And that, of course, was the one that Edge was in. I believe Edge is kind of trying to do some naughty things to her in that one against her will, and if I remember right. But she was really good in that. I mean, just a stunningly beautiful lady. If it is to be believed, I believe Jeff Fahey might have dated her a little bit after this. So I think they must have had some chemistry off screen. So this one, the only other, I guess, actor of note is popular character actor Patrick Bochow, who plays Sam. And that name might not sound familiar, but he was always one that I heard was like in that final like 3 or 4 to play Jean-Luc Picard on Star Trek The Next Generation. So he is one of those almost was huge kind of names, but he's been in a ton of stuff. You've seen him. You've definitely seen him. It was like him. I heard Stephen Mock he might have even been offered it of Monster Squad fame. And Edward James Olmos, who is the one that turned it down, I believe, because he just didn't want to do sci-fi.
Which is funny because Battlestar Galactica.
He did, yeah. Actually, one of the best rated sci-fi shows ever, actually, at one point. But yeah, that's our cast that we're dealing with. Yeah, so I would say this one is a lot of fun. Once again, kind of very, very 90s. But I would say Virtual Seduction is the better of the two.
I agree.
This is... so this one has a lot of unintentionally funny shit in it. At one point... there's a line that I still remembered it all these years later, oddly enough. When Lisa Barbuscia, our succubus, is seducing him, she had made dinner for him, and she just goes, he's like, "Oh, I'm not hungry," and it's like, "You eat fish when it's ready to be eaten, and this fish is ready." And she kind of flashes him this look. It's again unintentionally hilarious. It's another one that could honestly use a little bit more sex and nudity, but there is more here than in our previous film. This definitely falls under a supernatural erotic thriller. Yeah, it gets fairly steamy, I would say. This was shot in Romania. It's interesting seeing some of the pre-CGI effects work on display with this. It really kind of almost feels like you're watching a slightly more expensive witchcraft movie at times, like before those kind of really went full softcore with some of the later entries in that franchise. It's funny at the beginning because I don't know if it's pretty obvious, but there's a black cat that they take in at the beginning, and this cat hates the wife, Heather Medway, and she's like shits in her shoes. There's just messes with her, and almost eliminates her by knocking her down the stairs, which is funny because it's like you got to get her out of the way for a week so Jeff Fahey can dick down our succubus. That was this one's goofy, but it's just fun. It's another movie, little different from the last one that we don't really get anymore. And I don't know how it will play, like if you don't have the 90s late night cable nostalgia goggles. I don't know how it will play, but I do enjoy it, and I'm assuming you do too, Todd. I'm just guessing.
And you are not correct today.
You didn't like this one.
This one didn't click with me. No. I don't know if it was because I enjoyed Virtual Seduction so much. Yeah. I felt like I was just another witchcraft sequel. It's funny you mentioned that. I don't even know if that much bigger of a budget, but well,
probably to get Fahey. Yeah.
That obviously.
Fahey.
I mean, he was the highlight, but overall, I was like, yeah, I'm not really into this one. I think he was underutilized. I think, he should have been in a better movie. And it's funny because you name off the director's other credits, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not in a hurry to watch that new movie.
I definitely have a thing for Lisa Barbuscia, and it's a shame that she didn't do more. You really see the presence, I think, that she had in this, and I think she grew as an actress between this and Highlander Endgame, which I actually think is kind of underrated. That franchise.
It had a producer extraordinaire attached to that one.
That is true. That is true. Good scenery chewing villain in Bruce Payne in that movie. But yeah, no, this one's fun. I think the big issue with it, I can see a lot of people sitting down to watch this thinking like, I want a little more erotic thriller. And then there's going to be a lot of people. It's like, man, I wish this was a little more of a horror movie, which it is, but there's not a ton in the way of gore or special effects or anything like that. It's a little more 70s style shot in the 90s kind of thing. But you know what? You get some steamy scenes with Lisa B, and I had a good time watching it.
Needed more horror, more erotic. I think it but
just a little more delivering the groceries. I get it. So
I didn't hate it. I was just very underwhelmed.
Yeah. I've been going down a Fahey rabbit hole, so I've been revisiting some random stuff that he did, and I would agree. Like this one, unless you're a big fan of some of these actors, I would say it's a skip. But I still think it's solid. I'm going to give it 2.5.
That's actually exactly what I'm on, and you seem to have liked it a lot more than me.
I can't just for Lisa Barbusca's TNA. I do sometimes reel it in, Todd. I'm not just a person.
Yeah, but that review seemed a lot more positive than mine, and we had the same rating. That was my only reason.
I was bordering on a 3, but I do think Virtual Seduction is the better movie.
Yeah, definitely. If you can get a hold of the Virtual Seduction, that's definitely the one to recommend of the two.
Fahey doesn't do a whole lot in this to help his situation. Like he's really not for the most part he's just kind of played like a big schmuck in this one. I think he gets better display of his acting in Virtual Seduction. But yeah. I believe you can still get the Blu-ray on Serpent's Lair. It's a little expensive on Amazon at the moment. I don't know if this is still a part of any blowout sales.
I don't know with the Code Red stuff. I don't know how it all works now. I don't know if it's what's out there or what, but
yeah. So if you want it, you might want to grab it before it's ridiculous.
I think this one goes back to, wasn't this the Twilight Time site? Isn't that where this one was available? Well, I can't remember the name of the site anymore.
It may have been like the Blu-ray, I think came out in 2016.
See, I have 2015 down.
Okay, I thought 26, but either way, that's kind of getting towards the end for them, right?
Like, yeah, I can't think of the name. What was the name of the site? Screen
I want to say this was at least for me, was the Code Red cartel site, and it might have been like the very last thing that was on there.
Okay.
Could be wrong. I wish I could remember exactly, but I want to say this might have been like one of the last things that.
See, my memory says I got it off the. I can't remember SAG, the one that Twilight Times label when Code Red had that deal.
Yeah, there. I know what you mean.
Yeah. I can't think of the name.
It was probably there too. It was probably there too. And I think Ronin had it too. So,
Well, all of these eventually they were everywhere, like everywhere else.
it kind of reminds me, there's still a lot of stuff from the 90s cross genre. I mean, particularly action and sci-fi, but there's still some horror stuff. There's a lot of erotic thrillers to be mined, and maybe hopefully we'll get it.
I think I think the problem with this era of film is being a lot that was finished on tape. Someone has to want to do the work. And I think it's going to be, some are going to be more likely to happen than others.
Yeah, I get that. But a lot of stuff I'd like to see not lost to time.
Well, some of the stuff that we thought they'd never do it for, it has came out. So it just depends if someone wants to do the work.
Yeah.
Hard to Die. That's one we need.
One of the last, and I'm pretty sure it was Code Red, that was announced randomly was Carnosaur 2.
I remember, yes.
And I don't know what's going on with that. I kept expecting maybe a Scream Factory website exclusive for it or something.
They own the film now, so whatever they had, I'm sure with Bill's death lapsed, whatever deal they had.
That's what I was kind of thinking. So I'm like, I mean, hey, I'd like all of the Carnosaurs. I'd certainly at least like the first one, but
because they got 2 before Shout Factory bought the Corman catalog. So normally they'd have to honor the previous contract, but with Bill passing, I'm assuming they could do whatever they want now.
Yeah, I'd like to. There's still a lot of Corman stuff that I'd like to see them put on the website, but with that being said, I guess we're at the end of the show. If you have any Fahey requests or anything you'd like to see us cover, as always, comment these videos. We try and read everything, and we do take suggestions. Also, patreon.com/fleshwoundfeatures. It all starts at just $1, and we have a lot of exclusive, uncensored content on there that you can check out. Some of it is Patreon forever, so it is worth it. And we don't do super chats, so we do appreciate you throwing us a $1 or $2 every now and then. On that note, that's all I have. Stay gay for Fahey. Yeah.
Money's on the dresser. And good night.